invite some people?
Is it starting yet? It says live is starting.
Do you want to invite some people?
No, don't invite anybody.
Not even sure.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope your Shabbat is going well. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this.
Yep.
But I know love will change your life. Love takes sacrifice. Love cuts like a knife. Sometimes love will make you cry. Love's not easy, but it's worth it. Love is a hunger, but love won't leave you empty. See, it's the language of the heart. Love can steal your pride, but love won't let you hide. It takes everything you've got. Love's not easy, but it's worth it. What you gonna do when the bottom falls out and you're left with nothing but your fear and your doubt to hold you? Hold you. Where you gonna run when it's all on the line and you're looking for someone to save your life? Save your life. Love can hear you. Love can heal you if you let it inside. Oh, remember now, love's not easy, but it's worth it. Oh, what you gonna do when the bottom falls out and you're left with nothing but your fear and your doubt to hold you? Who's gonna hold you? Oh, where you gonna run when it's all on the line and you're looking for someone to save your life? Save your life. Love can hear you. I know love will heal you. You will let it inside. Oh, remember now, love's not easy, but it's worth it.
Amen. And it was what? He's love.
That's how they're in the part right
I love that song. Probably gonna get a nice little.
Hey,
commercial.
Ryan Reynolds
Yep.
here.
We don't want to hear from Ryan Reynolds, right?
there. Wait, was that Rhino Metals?
No, Ryan Reynolds.
I built up my own day, but the walls couldn't stand. I trusted my own strength, but it was seeking stand. So I put my ruins into your hands and watch you restore them like only you can. 'Cause Bricks may be weathered, you're storming through fire, but what God holds together, it stands firm every time. 'Cause my life is anchored on this solid truth, that whatever God feels it, no, it can't be moved. 'Cause if the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. If the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. When it's built on His name, there's nothing gonna shake this ground. If the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. Oh, nobody. As for me and my house, we're gonna serve you, Lord. So here's the keys, come on in. Everything we have is yours. As for me and my house, we're gonna serve you, Lord. So here's the keys, come on in. Everything we have is yours. Oh, here's the keys, come on in. Everything we have is yours. If the Lord builds the house, nobody can tear it down. Nobody can tear it down. When it's built on His name, there's nothing gonna shake this ground. If the Lord builds a house, nobody. Oh, if the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. The Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. When it's built on His name, there's nothing that can shake this ground. If the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down. Say, if the Lord builds a house, nobody can tear it down.
Nobody. Sorry who is wearing.
What do you do when you get everything you wanted, but it's not what you wanted after all? What do you do when your dreams become reality, but deep inside you know they're not enough? God, it's so hard living with
I don't have the lyrics in the Tanakh
longing
either.
heart. Everything I think I need feels so strangely out of reach. So God, help me now to understand that this may be how. Show me how I was made for something more. Sometimes I'm moving in circles. Sometimes I feel I'm walking a wire between what's now and what's to come. I'm caught inside every moment, breathing its beauty in, but knowing it won't ever fill me up. God, it's so hard living with a longing
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, if you're just joining us. Just give me a moment here. We'll go ahead and start our space here that we were just in, that we actually got ended on, which was very strange. So I'm going to put it right here because I think it may have been closed out accidentally. So, here we go. Start your space. Okay. Picking up back where we left off. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I think my son might have ended the space on accident. We'll just keep this right here. And we'll go ahead and begin. Okay, so this Torah portion is called Kedoshim, which means holy. And it is going to be the books Leviticus
19.
Chapter 19 through 20.
And Amos 9.
And then of the Nevi'im's writings, it's going to be
Amos 9.
Amos 9.
Maybe it's Amos. I don't know.
Could be, I don't know. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started on this reading here. Leviticus 19. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation. Hang on, let me double check here to make sure that Facebook didn't say, oh, we cut your video.
They're trying to disconnect us.
I know. Everything's always against us, so, you know.
Facebook isn't going to tell us what to do.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our screen we're recording on. Oh, that might help if we put the right screen on so that everybody can follow along, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. Okay. Alright. There we go. Hopefully, yep. There we go. Alright, now everybody can see the right page. Let's go ahead and get back to Leviticus 19. Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I, Yahuwah your God, am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father. Can I re-say that again? My little 10-year-old son here. Ye shall fear every man his mother. Yeah, you want to think about that every time you back talk and get coffee and I know. Well, it's things that need to be talked about because you think you're the only kid that back talks their parents. This is so important, right? And his father. So it's not just the mother, it's the father too. Okay? So, and ye shall keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahuwah your God. Okay, so this is like rule number 1, you know, like Yahuwah's Sabbaths are like his Sabbaths. Like if he says they're his and we're not keeping them the way that he called them to be kept, which was actually by the moon cycle, then we have some issues because he's a jealous God. He wants things his way and his way only. So gotta get back to the basics, and there was no 30-day calendar, you know, Julian, you know, and the Gregorian calendar were made by man, not by Yahuwah. So, verse 4, Turn ye not unto the idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am Yahuwah your God. So when we're talking about idols, okay, it's interesting because in Isaiah's words, in Isaiah, and I like feel like a broken record because I just say it like over and over and over again. Sit up, please. In Isaiah's words of 40 chapters 40 through 47, it reads, sit up. It tells about, this image And this image is the image that causes jealousy. And it tells you that this carpenter creates an image of his own image to be worshipped as you go through the reading. I believe it's like Isaiah 44 when it goes into more detail about it. But like each chapter goes into more and more about this carpenter and what he's doing. And remember, this is a future generation that Yahuwah is speaking to when he's talking in here, you know. And he says, even Jeremiah, if you want to go into the Apocryphal of Jeremiah too, it says the image that is in the image of a scarecrow or in the image of something that is in a cucumber patch. And what does it say? It says that it's a scarecrow image.
But why do birds get scared why do crows get scared? Because it's literal Jesus, and they're scared of it. That's why they
Could
fly
be
away.
true. That could be true. But, you know. So let me just check on Facebook here to make sure we're still
Yeah, they ain't gonna do anything to us.
Well, you don't know. They're turds like, oh.
They are
Oh, I
turds.
heard you say something. I heard, you know, whatever.
They're basically like a trash can that open up, and then they just drag you in it.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. I guess you could say. Should you turn my volume down on this too? Okay. Alright, so just something to think about, you know, what Jeremiah says in his words, Jeremiah 10:5. And then you look at the Apocryphal of Jeremiah 6:73. You know, and I have a little clipping that I have of it that I post everywhere. And I, you know, question people, like, why do you believe this? Why? You know, we're all supposed to be held accountable for what we believe. So, it says, turn ye not unto the idols, nor make yourself molten gods. I am Yahuwah your God. And when ye offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yahuwah, ye shall offer it that ye may be accepted.
It shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow. And if aught to remain until the third day, it shall be burnt with fire.
And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is a vile thing, it shall not be accepted.
But every one that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the holy thing of Yahuwah, and that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Isn't that interesting? So it's talking about something that's profaning the Father, right? How do you profane something? Right? Because he hath profaned the holy thing of Yahuwah, and that soul shall be cut off. So what is it? But everyone that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the holy thing of Yahuwah. So it doesn't tell us yet until we get into the reading further, right? So just pay attention to those words. Verse 9, and when ye reap... Whoa. Did I read that right? Yeah. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corner of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleaning of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather the fallen fruit of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am Yahuwah your God.
Ye shall not steal, neither steal ye deal falsely, nor lie one to another. And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, so that thou profane the name of thy God. I am Yahuwah.
So let's see that, okay? You shall not swear by my name falsely. So what does that mean? If Yahuwah told you, if you say, oh, Yahuwah told me this, or Yahuwah says this, or, you know, Yahuwah told me this, when he really didn't tell you this, is that profaning his name? Apparently so, I mean, because it says, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely, meaning like you shall not, you know, like say, oh, the Father made me do this, you know, or I, you know what I mean? Like...
No, I think it's the GD word.
I don't think so.
Probably talking about, it says, ye shall not swear.
Right.
So it's possibly talking about the GD word too.
I'll have to look into that to see what the word swear there means. Okay. Thou shalt not oppress thy neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of a hired servant shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but thou shalt fear thy God. I am Yahuwah. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor favor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand idly by the blood of thy neighbor. I am Yahuwah. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt surely rebuke thy neighbor, and not bear sin because of him. Thou shalt not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahuwah. Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Isn't that interesting? It says you're not supposed to mix the cattle with other types of, like a bull in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen some videos
A bull
of
and a cow.
like mutating animals. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Wow. But this is really important to pay attention, you guys, is, statutes. You gotta know the statutes. Make sure you're keeping all the statutes, because these are huge. Yahuwah talks about his statutes over and over again in his Torah, and the prophets talk about it too. Even, King David does in his Psalms. So does Solomon in the Proverbs. So these are just something that, are really, really dearly important to Yahuwah. His statutes and his ordinances, his decrees, and his precepts, you'll find over and over again they're talked about. So just align yourself with the Father and make sure that you're doing everything right. Because when judgment comes, that gavel's coming down and there's no way you can stop it. Okay, so it says, Thou shalt not sow thy field with two kinds of seed, neither shall there come upon thee a garment of two kinds of stuff mingled together. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, designated for a man, and not at all redeemed, nor was freedom given her, there shall be inquisition. They shall not put to death because she was not free. And he shall bring his forfeit unto Yahuwah unto the door of the tent of meeting, even a ram for a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering before Yahuwah for his sin, which he hath sinned, and he shall be forgiven for his sin which he hath sinned. And when ye shall come into the land, and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then ye shall count the fruit thereof as forbidden. 3 years shall it be as forbidden unto you. It shall not be eaten. And in the 4th year all the fruit thereof shall be holy, for giving praise unto Yahuwah. But in the 5th year may ye eat of the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you more richly the increase thereof. I am Yahuwah your God. You shall not eat with the blood, neither shall you practice divination nor soothsaying. You shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor imprint any marks upon you. I am Yahuwah. Oh, how many people have tattoos? Then that's gone against Yahuwah's word.
Scorpion tattoo.
I know lots of people that have tattoos, but we're not the judge. Yahuwah is.
He didn't create
But he
them.
says specifically, these are part of his ordinances,
Yeah.
or his statutes. Is that we're reading the statutes, right?
He didn't create them, the nations did.
right? But, Yahuwah knew that they were going to do this, which is interesting. He knew that they were going to have tattoo markings.
And it's not okay.
And do not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Okay? I don't even think we're supposed to be cutting into our bodies at all. Okay, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor imprint any markings upon you. I am Yahuwah. Profane not thy daughter to make her a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry, and the land become full of lewdness. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahuwah. Turn ye not unto the ghosts, nor unto familiar spirits. Seek them not out to be defiled by them. I am Yahuwah your God. Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head, and honor the face of the old man, and thou shalt fear thy God. I am Yahuwah. This is interesting. It says, turn ye not unto the ghosts. But, we see so many shows today, like the nations produce, right? Like the paranormal.
Like Paranormal
show.
On Camera.
Right.
Paranormal Activity.
Like all these ones that are entertaining these ghosts or familiar spirits, right?
Well, what actually happens when you die, you do not become a ghost. You
Well-
actually choose to go to two places, heaven or heck.
Well, no. Heaven is for the heavenly council.
Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're told in the Torah and in the prophets' writings, that Yahuwah has his place where he's in the heavens, and we're designated on earth. That's what we were created for.
Did you know angels actually look like actual skeletons?
I have no idea. No idea what you're researching there, dear. Alright, so it says, do not seek them out, or these will be defilements to you. So, like, people, like Christians who watch scary movies, Messianics, who, oh, hold on a second. Somebody, hold on a second. He's welcome to join us if he wants, Nate, but we have to do this, okay? So hurry up.
What?
We are live.
Wait, what?
We are live.
Wait, what did you say for that?
Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Is he dead? So, where is my girlfriend?
We're live, Nate. We are live. We're recording, so you need to talk to Jay either afterwards or tomorrow, okay? Let's go.
Okay. So later tonight?
Anything can happen when you're live, right?
I'm so sorry.
Anything.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's alright. Okay, so we'll continue. We are in verse 33. And if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, ye shall not do him wrong. The stranger that sojourneth with you shall be unto you as the homeborn among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am Yahuwah your God. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in made a yard, in weight, or in measure. Just balances, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hin shall ye have. I am Yahuwah your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And ye shall observe my statutes and all my ordinances, and do them. I am Yahuwah. Very, very clear. Very, very clear what we're supposed to be doing. We are to be doing his statutes and his ordinances. And, as we go on, there's more that are added that are important to the law. So, just something to think about when you're in the world and you're, partaking of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Alright. You all Are y'all ready to go into Amos 9?
No, because we're still in chapter 19.
Aren't we done?
Negative. We got one more. What are you getting? You better stop or you're not going to be doing anything tonight, mister. Alright, Leviticus 20. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moses, saying,
Moreover, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, so that giveth of his seed unto Moloch, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
Yeah. Okay, no. Stop. Okay. Think about that. Yahuwah told the children of Israel, do not be like those who give their seed unto Moloch.
But what are we talking about the seed?
Well, I mean, you think about it. If this is saying, don't give your children up to Moloch as being sacrificed, why is it okay for what the New Testament claims of Yahuwah, which I can tell you right now, that's not the father of the Old Testament. I will tell you that right now. That is actually Dagon, which is Baal's father.
Yes.
And
Asherah.
He, just like Moloch, they were both involved in child sacrifice. So
and guess what? They had
hold on. So
lamb
Dagon offers up his child to be killed, right? Why? Because that's what they do. They're all about child sacrifice. So, of course, Yahuwah is going to say that not Yahuwah, the Bible is going to tell you, that, being hung from a tree is not sacrifice, but yes, it is, okay? But here's the thing. Romans didn't do sacrifices. They didn't do sacrifices. They did torture, right? So when you do the history on this and you break it all down, Romans didn't do sacrifices like this. They, and there's a post that I had done about this as well.
All right, here we go. I will also. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I also will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given of his seed unto Moloch, to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name.
Hold on. So, let's back up and go back to profane. Remember, we were talking about profaning Yahuwah's name, and I said, remember that. So here it is. What profanes Yahuwah's name and defiles the sanctuary? What? When people offer their children up. So how is this New Testament Jesus any different when he says that his father told him to offer himself up as a sin sacrifice, right? And then he will be with his father and they will be one. But where does that say anywhere in the Torah that that's what it's supposed to be? It doesn't. It doesn't say it at all. But, I mean, just think about this. I can't read, Nathaniel, when you're doing that. Alright. So, it's just something to think about. And our screen got moved down. Not sure what happened here.
Wrong verse.
What are we on? Where'd it go?
4. And if the people of the land do not...
Hold on, I wasn't done. So it says, that this is the one that profanes the Father's name. Right? And just like this Jesus character says that he was supposed to give himself as a sacrifice, when Yahuwah clearly says that anyone who was nailed to a tree, hung from a tree, was cursed. Because that man did something who was worthy of being cursed. Well, here you go. You got to put the story together. What did he do? He tried to offer himself up as a sacrifice for sins. When Yahuwah says that this is not how sins are atoned for.
He doesn't allow human bloodshed.
Exactly. He says that human bloodshed defiled the land.
Yes.
So this totally contradicts the New Testament and what it says. If you really think about this.
The New Testament is basically like a machine that just brainwashes your whole entire body to make you believe in that Jesus God, when clearly you're just brainwashed by that book, but you don't even know
who wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the Old Testament is basically what's kind of happening now.
Right. It's playing out. But,
yes.
But see, here's the thing. New Testament had to mimic what the prophets said to make their words look credible.
But
go ahead. Keep reading.
And if the people of the land do at all hide their eyes from that man, when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and put him not to death,
then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go astray after him, to go astray after Molech from among their people. Did you hear that right? And against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go astray after him, to go astray after Molech from among their people. Do you understand that? This Jesus character said that he was supposed to give his life as a sacrifice. But that's no different than giving your seed unto Molech. Whether you're burned in a fire, hung from a tree, cut in half, thrown in a ditch to die, beaten, it doesn't matter. It'd still be a sacrifice of death to Molech. So Yahuwah never would allow this. This is not something that Yahuwah was for. He was totally against this, and he's telling you right here that anyone who followed after them, they were put to death too. But this clearly didn't happen. The dark prophets came in, started their dark priesthood, and did what they did, and look at Christianity. That's a result of that. And all of the religions too, because Yahuwah said himself only. And, all the other gods work for him, so all these religions that want to claim another god, you realize that you're literally going to be destroyed because these gods that you worship claim to be your god.
When they're not, and there's only one God that you shall worship.
Right. Yahuwah is going to destroy you.
He will rise up, and the other gods will
bow down.
Fall down.
They know their place. All right.
They think they have this power when they just realize Yahuwah is the one of control of them.
Some of them do. Verse 6. And the soul that turneth unto the ghosts and unto the familiar spirits to go astray after them, I will even set my face against that soul and will cut him off from among his people. So, Yahuwah is definitely saying that there's spirits, right? On ghosts too. So, if you're chasing after them, you're giving into these, shows that are on TV, like the paranormal, and you're getting involved in all of that, like we were talking about earlier. You're entertaining. You're going against Yahuwah. This goes against one of his ordinances or statutes. I'm not sure what this falls under, but he's giving them all to you. He's laying them all out. So, what?
And you want to know what happens when you watch enough of that paranormal crap? You get nightmares.
Well, you start manifesting things. Yahuwah manifests things. You can manifest in the spirit realm, But it
Spiritual
will
realm.
eventually manifest itself in the natural realm if you keep, watering it. You keep on doing it and performing it. You will manifest it.
It's like
it
watering.
will.
It's like watering an evil plant, and then after, it starts like moving everywhere. You know.
Well, I mean, and it's just like Cain and Abel. When Cain had in his spirit to kill his brother, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, you must take hold of your thoughts because sin desires to have you. It is knocking at the door, right? So you must take hold of sin and your desires, right? So clearly Cain didn't do that. But, the same principle. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be ye holy, for I am Yahuwah your God, and keep ye my statutes, and do them. I am Yahuwah who sanctifies you. For whatsoever man there be that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He hath cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him. You hear that? Don't curse your parents. Because Yahuwah does not take it lightly one bit. Alright. For whatsoever man there be that curseth his father or his mother, he shall... Oh, did we just read that? We did. Verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lieth with his father's wife, he hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Isn't this interesting? Because doesn't the New Testament say that Jesus gets to have his father's what? Bride. Because that's apparently the bridge gap, or the gap that, the bridge, what do you call it? The bridger to the gap, so to speak. Right? No. Here Yahuwah says, and this is a statute, y'all, you need to pay attention, right? Says right here, and the man that lieth with his father's wife. Well, Yahuwah said that we were his wife, right? But he divorced us because we went whoring around, right? We went after the golden calf. And like so many today are going after the man instead of the calf. So when Yahuwah said don't create an image in anything in the heavens, on the earth, or below. So that's an abomination too, just so you know. But this is so interesting because people are like, this is, how the covenant is mended or put back together. When Yahuwah says, no, that covenant ended with me and you. You cannot end the covenant that I'm about to make because this covenant that is made is with a father and his son. And that son, we were told in Exodus, was who? Jacob. Israel is Yahuwah's firstborn son. Okay? Not the New Testament Jesus character. Not the deceiving carpenter Jesus that Isaiah 40 through 47 tells you about.
And it warns you about?
I know, even Habakkuk warns you of the craftsmanship of these craftsmen. That they're very crafty in their form of work. I mean, just look at Christianity. Crafted. I mean, most of all the nations are under Christianity, right?
Some people aren't, though, like us.
Mostly, I said. There's a small remnant that rises that's not after Yahuwah, brings his destruction. So, All right. So, I mean, this is just very, very important. This is Leviticus 20, verse 11. And the man that lieth with his father's wife, he hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So, Jesus violates this by trying to take us as Yahuwah's bride, but divorced, right? Yeah. And this is forbidden. A son cannot take his father's wife. No matter how you slice and dice it, that's what this law says. That's what this statute says. You cannot take your father's wife. So the New Testament goes against what Yahuwah says here.
And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought corruption, their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with mankind as with womankind, both of them have committed abomination. They shall surely be put to death.
Meaning if they're gay with each other.
Kind of sounds like how some like Valentine's Day, sometimes people mate with literal animals.
Yeah, that's bestiality. Okay,
And
go.
if a man take with his wife also her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. Oh, that sounds sad. And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death. And you shall slay the beast. Right there, it's talking about Valentine's Day, right there. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death, but their blood shall be upon them. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a shameful thing. And they shall be cut off in the sight of the children of their people. He hath discovered his sister's nakedness, he shall bear his iniquity. And if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, he hath made naked her fountain, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off from among their people.
Go. Keep going.
Do you hear that? And thou shalt...
All right, I'll do it.
No. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister,
Just, they're hammering something.
nor of thy father's sister. For he hath made naked his near kin. They shall bear their iniquity. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless.
It's pretty harsh.
Yeah. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is impurity. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Ye shall therefore keep all my statutes, and all mine ordinances, and do them, that the land whither I bring you up to dwell therein vomit you not out.
Yeah.
Kind of like I vomited yesterday. And ye shall not walk in the customs of the nation, which I am casting out before you, for they did all these things, and therefore I have abhorred them. Abhorred them.
So back up. What did they do? What did they all do? They did all of these things. They took their fathers, sisters, wives, mothers, sister, with their fathers, with their mothers, all these things we just read. They laid with them and created hybrid characters and all this.
Like
Just read
skinwalkers,
all that. Yeah,
obviously.
all this. They did all this. All the customs and traditions of the nations, right? And Yahuwah says, don't do them.
Alright. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it. A land flowing with milk and honey. I figured it'd say that. I am Yahuwah your God, who have set you apart from the peoples. Ye shall therefore separate between the clean beast and the unclean, and between the unclean fowl and the clean. Ye shall not make yourselves detestable by beast, or by fowl, or by anything wherewith the ground teemeth, which I have set apart for you to hold unclean. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, Yahuwah, am holy, and have set you apart from the peoples, that ye should be mine. A man also or a woman that divineth by a ghost or familiar spirit shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Now I'm going to go...
Amos 9. Okay, that's the end
Amos.
of the Torah portion. We're going to move into the Nevi'im's writings. So it's going to be Amos 9.
I got this.
Go ahead.
It's the very last book.
Yeah.
I'm just looking down. I saw Yahuwah standing beside the altar, and he said, Smite the capitals, that the posts may shake, and break them in pieces on the head of all of them. And I will slay the residue of them with the sword. There shall not one of them flee away, and there shall not one of them escape. Though they dig into the netherworld...
Well, you almost ended the space because you stuck your plushie on the thing. So go ahead, keep reading. Go.
Anyways, so I saw you who was standing beside the altar, and he said, Smite the capitals, that the posts may shake, and break them in pieces on the head of all of them. And I will slay the residue of them with the sword. There shall not one of them flee away, and there shall not one of them escape. Though they dig into the netherworld. Doesn't that sound like heck?
Heck?
Oh, it's just the word for hell.
Oh.
Thence shall my hand take them, and though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them.
What is that talking about? That is interesting. Talking about Nephilim.
Well,
and Dagon is in what? He's in the abyss, in the waters.
wait, is this talking about Adam and Eve? Like,
No.
those apples?
No.
It sounds like
No,
it.
it's talking about what Yahuwah is going to do as far as judgment. I know, it's horrible when you cherry pick.
Okay, and
But-
they go.
You want to back up and read a previous chapter so you can get some context?
And I'm going to read all of it.
What?
And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil, and not for good.
For Yahuwah, the God of hosts, is he that toucheth the land, and it melteth, and all that dwell therein mourn. And it riseth up wholly like the river, and sinketh again, like the river of Egypt. It is he that buildeth his upper chambers in the heaven, and hath founded his vault upon the earth. He that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name. Are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me? O children of Israel, saith Yahuwah, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and Aram from Kir?
Behold, the eyes of Yahuwah God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahuwah.
This is the remnant that rises up.
For I will command.
For lo.
For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all the nations, like as corn sifted in a sleeve, or in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. That say, the evil shall not overtake nor confront us.
See, and hold on, that right there, that's Isaiah's children's names. That right there speaks about what? Meir Shalahashbaz, the plundering that Shir-Jashub, the first child, rises out of.
In that day will I rise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will rise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the nations, upon whom my name is called, saith Yahuwah that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that the plowmen shall overtake
Hold on. That they may possess the remnant of Edom and all the nations upon whom my name is called, saith Yahuwah that doeth this. Do you see how important Yahuwah's name is? His name. He has one name. So, if you're calling on a name that's not his name, he's not going to answer you. You have to know what his name is. It's very, very important. Good, Nathaniel.
Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader, and the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed. And the mountains shall drop sweet wine. Is that normal? And all the hills shall melt. And I will turn the captivity of my people, Israel. And they shall build the waste cities, and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards, and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens, and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be plucked up out of their land which I have given them, saith Yahuwah thy God.
Praise Yahuwah. Some powerful words there tonight, huh? Wow. Thank you, Father, for giving us this time together and for allowing your word to just speak to us. There's so much here that we, even I noticed that I didn't get the several times that I've read this myself. And, just thank you, Father, for your word. It's just so timely when we need it. Thank you for allowing us to understand what it is you put forth for us to follow. That your instructions are not heavy, Father, that they're light. And that we just need to get back to you and to see those things. That this New Testament is what's the burden. It doesn't speak anything of the Torah.
And it's not new.
And we just thank you, Father, for everything that you're doing. You opening up people's eyes to see you alone, as you intended. So we give you all the praise and glory, Father. Amen. All right. We'll go ahead and close out this Shabbat. Unless there's anybody in the space that would like to take up a mic, go ahead and do so. We'll go ahead and close out the space on... Oh, come on. You got it? Go ahead. Shalom.
Hello.
How's it going, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. We're just finishing up here on the Tanakh portion that I had. I actually had a space before this, but my lovely son here decided to
By accident.
close it out, so we had to restart another one. So I don't know if you were in that one before or not.
just seen it. I just came on and seen you, so I re-followed you. I just wanted to reach out to you and say I'm sorry how I treated you the other time we talked.
Oh. I don't remember what time that was. No worries.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's what Saul said, or Shaw said the other day when I went in there. I just feel like well, we were in the space with you two one time, and me and the guy came in there. Yeah, I don't remember, but even if you don't remember, I just wanted to say, hey, I'm sorry for acting crazy. You asked my wife, actually, you said, where's the prophecy that the Messiah has to die and raise on the third day?
Okay.
This was a few weeks ago.
All right.
I'd say about a month ago, probably. Maybe, yeah, what was it, about a month ago?
Yeah, well, I didn't actually talk in this day, so I was just typing.
Yeah, anyway, you and my wife back and forth about it, you going through, and she was the one that brought up the sickness thing of the suffering servant.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've been doing some research in the last month, and I'm not saying that the New Testament's just pretty much just trash yet, but I mean, we found a lot of stuff that you guys didn't really mention to us, but we prayed to Yahuwah, because that's what we call him, Yahuwah as well, because that's his name, and like you said, I did hear that part. His name is very important, and it is all in his name. He is the Redeemer, he is the Savior, he is the King, he's all of it. Like, he's everything. And I just, as far as our church has gone so far, we have not found any prophecies to say that Messiah should come and die and raise on the third day.
Right.
So,
and that's kind of, where it has to go, is you got to do the research to see it for yourself. I mean, I can, only plant the seed, and then Yahuwah either puts it in your spirit to research it out, or, trash it and, research something else. But, and that's purely the Father doing that, because it wasn't me, nagging you about anything. I just put the word out there. And, I'm so just blessed, actually, that, you and your wife are digging and, researching and, being humble to see that, there's a possibility that we could have been wrong. We could have been deceived. And, that's where it starts, is true humility, is finding yourself in that position when you're like, okay, now things are not lining up. Now it's important to start questioning everything, because that's what happened, when Rome took over, is they silenced everyone by crucifying them. When you look at the age of Tartaria, I don't know if you've done any research on that, but they were into crucifying. There were crosses that they found all over the place of people's bodies that were strung everywhere.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
We did some background on Pilate, too, and the whole story about the crowd getting, rallied, like, riled up and stuff, and made them, like, forced to, say, okay, well, who do you want? That's not written anywhere in any kind of history book anyway. If the crowd got rowdy, Pilate sent people in to kill them. He did not let them rule anything, and he actually, Caesar at the time called him back and relieved him from his position, because that's how brutal he was. So
Right.
that story in itself, to me, there is no right. And honestly, we're actually on the rabbit hole now. I don't know if you ever heard this, but Josephus, his name, that's not really his name. He actually mentions his name in the New Testament that he wrote. And people are pointing, this is a very small minority of people that are actually claiming that Josephus and his family, which were Romans, not Jewish, wrote the New Testament.
Right, yes.
This is actually the Paul character.
Well, and it goes a whole lot deeper than that. I mean, have you looked into the Piso family? Because Josephus worked with the Flavian.
Yep, that's what we've been looking into. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. That is exactly what opened up my eyes and caused me to be like, okay, who really was this inspirer or inspirers who created this book for us to follow that really is not of the Father? You know what I mean? So when you start digging deeper into the creators and the ones, what they've claimed and you start to see things not lining up with history, you're like, there's no way. This is all fabricated. This is about, these Flavians. And, when you look at Titus was a Flavian. What is a Flavian doing in the New Testament, which is supposed to be about Yahuwah, when the Flavians clearly worshipped a pantheon of gods? 9 to be exact. And the Ark of Titus shows this still to this day. You can go and look at this ark still to this day. It shows those 9 gods looking down on him as he is annihilating and slaughtering the Jews, and his troops are walking off with the menorah. An absolute ridicule of the Father, since, Israel, is the chosen ones. It's scattered Israel.
Yeah, that's what, and that's when we were discussing things in the last space and stuff, and there was a lot of stuff that you guys did say that I did agree with, because I've always, as soon as I, opened up to Torah, and I started reading the Torah and stuff, I do hold the prophet high too, but the Torah is the number. It's everything. Go back to everything that's literally what was written by God. Exodus 24 says, he told Moses, come up and get everything that I have written for you to give to Israel, right?
Yep.
So the Torah is the complete, even if you, the New Testament, right? Even if you go into that, the New Testament doesn't even call itself scriptures, right? So
exactly.
It's never considered scripture. And I've always known that. And I 10 years ago, I went down this rabbit hole. I didn't go this deep, right, as far as I am now. And I'm still testing things. So, there's a lot of stuff that I'm re-looking at, and it's not matching up with it. But I went down this rabbit hole 10 years ago, whatever, and I mentioned to my wife about it, and we kind of just put it off, and it just kept coming up, and finally we're just all right, after you get that, hey, where's this prophecy at? We went and searched, and guess what? We didn't find it. So then we started saying, okay, well, let's start looking at some other things. And then some more things started popping up, and more things, and I'm just I cannot unsee this now, And this is what I would expect, because Yahuwah says, if you seek me with all your heart, you will find me, right? So if we seek him with all of our heart, we'll find him. And when he reveals something, you cannot unsee it. And I can't tell you how many people that I've asked questions to that they've explained it away. And I'm just that's not a fair, you're not being genuine.
Right. You've heard the Father's voice, and you can't unhear it now. And now you're seeking, and that's, you're there. You're there. And I'm so proud of you and your wife. I know we don't know each other, but I love my brothers and my sisters, that, none should perish. I don't want anybody to have to face Yahuwah's wrath when he brings the gavel, and just, that's it. Because it's coming. It's coming. I could feel it in my bones, nobody knows the day or the hour, like we're told, but, I'm just so blessed that you're seeking, and there's such a wonderful praise. Praise Yahuwah. Wow. Stop.
I got a message from somebody that normally will he kind of stopped talking to me a little while ago, because I was he teaches Judaism and mixes Torah with it. So when I say Judaism, I'm talking about the Talmud, you can't turn your lights on Sabbath type of
Oh, the legalistic part of it. Yeah.
So, like, basically, like, where they added, like, hedges to it to be like, okay, well, if we don't do this, then we won't break, you know what I mean? So, like, and, so he was teaching all that, so he was kind of like, whatever. And I was like, but it was the whole Jesus thing that split us apart mostly, because he said Jesus taught tap mud, and I was like, he didn't. And that was another thing that I looked at. I said, this is what I told my wife, I said, if I go into the Torah and I read from Genesis to Malachi to the very end, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one religion, one belief, one nation, all the way through it. You go into the New Testament, you have 45,000 different denominations.
Yep.
Why is that? That was another question I asked people. Why is that? How can you get 45,000 different denominations from this one book that has less books in it than you can the Torah?
Right.
And the prophets. No answer.
Well, I mean, in the New Testament, it also talks about all the gods. If you look at it very carefully, and one of the, in 1 Peter, I believe it is, one of the gods' names actually means dedicated to Artemis. So, if you look at the names of these characters, it gives you a good idea too. Because, not only Hebrew, Hebrew stands for character and function when you're reading about the prophet's writings. So that helps you to understand too. But, also with the New Testament, their Greek stands for things too. We have to look at that as well. The deception's everywhere. All over the New Testament once you start digging into these things. And I think that that's where the new, where all these religions started coming from. Because it talks about temples that were reared up to the god Artemis and Apollo. And, I mean, you see it all throughout the New Testament.
Yeah, somebody made a claim. So I was just kind of just seeing, like, people's opinions on it, you know what I mean? Because, like, I can see scripture. I don't need anybody to tell me that scripture doesn't match up when it shows clearly that it doesn't, right? So we can definitely see that. But this one guy was saying that he thinks that Paul's God was Apollo.
Yes. Yes. When you dig into Titus.
Well, it's because he says it's because of the woman that's following him. You remember the demon-possessed woman or whatever that's following him around? And she's just following him around for a while, and then finally he gets annoyed with her, and he says, rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And it listens. Well, my idea of that is that if those things, they listen to their master. So if Yeshua is their master, then of course it would listen to that name to come out or do whatever it says with that master's name, because it says all slaves are slaves to whatever master they serve. So if they of Jesus and it comes to command, then to me it almost sounds like that's its master.
Exactly. Exactly what and that's found in the book of Titus 2. Exactly what you're talking about, where it says slaves obey your masters. Well, at that time, Titus was reigning as emperor and Paul was his associate. Well, Titus, he worshipped the god Apollo. That's historical fact when you go and you research it. And he tried to get the Jews to worship Apollo, but they wouldn't have it. So he sent Paul out to the Galatians, which was the original Celts, who worshipped a god called Isus. And Paul took the Galatians god's name, the whole character, because this god literally required you to be ritually stabbed and hung from a tree. Basically crucified. That was the only acceptable offering that he would require. And so Paul took this god back to Titus and was like, look, I found a god who, we can change it up and match it or whatever, because they wanted to overthrow Titus. When you look at this historically, the Jews were ready to kill Titus. They were all in favor of overthrowing him because he was claiming himself to be God. He was claiming himself to be the Christos. Titus and his father Vespasian. Vespasian was God on earth, and Titus was his son. He was the Christos. And there's a documentary called Caesar's Messiah. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that documentary I posted, but it's on YouTube, and I highly encourage you to check it out. It is what really gave me the jumping point of where to go and study next once I started coming out and realizing these lies, that the New Testament has been claiming. But the story totally lines up with Titus and his father. When you look at what they did in their lives, it's a exact replica of what happened with him. So when he says slaves obey your masters, it's no different than, like you said, Yeshua is saying, when he commanded those demons to come out, who are you listening to? You're listening to that master.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that was another big thing that I've always questioned is, like, it always rubbed me the wrong way that, when you go into the Old Testament and you look at like some kind of like Satan with some, cool bodyguards that are these demons flying around, like, tempting people and doing all this wicked stuff to people. It's absent from the Old Testament, but as soon as you go into the New Testament, it's like these things magically just came out of nowhere, and now they're just flying around torturing people. Like, I don't.
If you look at the prophets' writings, though, it says in the book of Isaiah that there are hosts that separated from Yahuwah, and there are these roaming spirits. I don't know if you listened earlier when I was reading, but it talks about in Leviticus, we were just reading, let me see if I can pull it up, I just had it, I believe Leviticus 19 and 20, where it talks about how we're not supposed to have any communion with these ghosts or familiar spirits. And I went into, talking about how you look at today's society, we have these paranormal shows that the nations have created for scattered Israel to be indoctrinated by. We have all these modern day things that we were told in these times not to go and do. But yeah, like in the New Testament too, it does talk about all of these gods, and people are like, oh, the New Testament's, we're walking it out right now. That's what I'm hearing, like, over and over again. I'm like, there's a reason why you're walking it out. It's because they planned it for you to walk it out exactly as it's being said. That's what makes it so credible, is because it's the end all of the 400 years for a remnant to rise up out of destruction.
Man, if they can keep you asleep until the coming of Yahuwah, they done their job.
Exactly, and that's what remember it says that they meant to wipe Israel out as a nation and as a name. They're trying to destroy Yahuwah's children, his son, Jacob, as Israel, because they're not.
And I've been noticing that when I was, I still go on posts or whatever and, use the New Testament to some people, just to kind of, get them to look into it, because this is how it started. Once there's a reason why you go through this. This is who is building people. Some people may build a lot faster than others, right? And that's true. I can consider that with people. But we're going through a building phase, and it's like he's teaching you through this. So it's like I went from Gracie Jesus to but I only did this in a very small time. I wasn't manipulated in my life. I didn't grow up in a church. I never stepped into a church until me and my wife got together 14 years ago.
Oh wow! So you don't have any indoctrination.
Until I was about 26, 27, and I'm 36 now. Or wait, no, I was 24. Sorry, that was Anyway, I was a little bit older, so I wasn't brainwashed in church philosophy or whatever. Gracie stuff, started reading the Bible for myself, started about a year later, we threw all the pagans, like Christmas, everything gone, eating pork, everything that God said not to do, we stopped doing. And, you know, what really started getting for me is a lot of people are like, oh, we're sinners, we can't do that, you know, Jesus is the only one that can do all this stuff. And I'm just thinking, wait a minute. So this new covenant that is only mentioned in the Old Testament that says, I will put my spirit in you and a new heart and cause you to walk in my statutes. You're telling me it's too hard to do that? Like what?
Right. And, you know, and Hosea 4:12 says that, you know, Israel took up the spirit of whoredom. So they can neither hear nor see until they get out of that spirit of whoredom.
Yeah. And that's why he says, and this is what coming to me over the last couple of weeks, and I've been praying about this, so it's not like I just woke up one day and said, I'm just going to see how I can discredit the New Testament. That's not what I...
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I argued against you guys and was trying to defend it. And honestly, defending it, and then you asking that question, and then us doing what we're supposed to do, go search the scriptures like Paul says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go search be Bereans. Okay, so let's go do that. And now we're like, oh no, something's wrong here. And we both were like, for the first day or two, we were just like, what are we supposed to do? You know?
Yeah.
Like, we're like, what are we supposed to do? We have this big build up on Twitter that we go around. We have a lot of people on here we talk to and congregate with, and it's like now it's like, Yahuwah, you were right. It is a small remnant that you're going to call out of Babylon.
Yep.
You're going to call the world. Like, it's true. Like, for me to say what I'm saying right now, everybody that follows me would disown me, which is fine, because I'd rather have Yahuwah.
It's not that clear.
Well, some already have, and they accused me of doing something that they did, so I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, now I'm starting to really see, and now that I'm starting to question things, and actually seeking him out more and more. And I'm not saying that I didn't believe in him before, but now it's like I'm really more gung-ho focused about, okay, Yahuwah, who are you? You know, because I want to know you now. And this is me every day. And the more that I start seeing this, like, I thought my boss was going to call me yesterday. I thought I was going to be in trouble, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he called me today and said, hey, we're giving you a raise. I haven't been to work in the last 13 days and got a raise.
Praise Yah. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. I go look at Deuteronomy 28, and it says, you'll be favored amongst the nations. There you go.
Wow. That's amazing, brother. Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what he's showing me now. He's like, now that you open your eyes and you let me come in, now I'm going to show you who I am. And this is what I'm starting to see now. And, you know, I'm not giving you credit, but, I'm glad that I could come and actually, tell you that I'm sorry for treating you the way because all you were doing was just trying to do what I was trying to do with people to, figure out what the New Testament was trying to teach the law. And you were just trying to get people to come back to God straight up. And, we didn't see that, so that's why I'm saying I'm apologizing, but all praise and glory to the Most High Yahuwah. I mean, it's all him.
Absolutely. I love that. And when you guys go in your spaces, because I don't know anybody really on here. I follow like 159, but that's because I what do I do? I don't know what to do on Twitter. I'm like hardly ever on here. But if you guys go into spaces, like you said, Yahuwah is raising up an army, and he's calling his sheep to wake the masses because he's about to bring destruction. I'm a prophesied watchman. I was given a prophecy of being a watchman in 2013, and honestly, I didn't even know what in the world a watchman did. All I was told by this man who claims to be the prophet Elijah was to just go study everything that I could. Just study, and that when the time came, I would know what to do. And so I've done that. Like, literally, my whole life has just been study, anything, everywhere. Just go study it. Doesn't matter. And so I would just dissect a lot of YouTube. Like, YouTube was, like, my go-to. And so would take what people said and I would try and play devil's advocate in that and be like, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong, and through that I was proved wrong on so many things, and I think that that's the way that we find true humility in all of this, to be able to come out of it, to be scattered Israel, just like Isaiah's 5 children's names, like I don't know how I was given that understanding, honestly. Nobody taught it to me. It's something that I don't want to say created, but something that was shown to me by the Father, to put all those names together. They literally represent the remnant that goes through the plundering, because we are going to go through some plundering. We're going to be brought to our knees for leaving the Father. He says, I'm angry at you. You pissed me off. You went the nation's ways when I told you not to. So I'm going to put you through some fire, and I'm going to, crisp you up a little bit, but this is going to be for your benefit, and through it all, he brings the ashes right back into beauty from crumbling them down to ashes, and so, this is where I see everybody at right now, so I'm so what? Hold on, hold on a second. What? No, I'm doing this right now. Go, please. My goodness. Close the door, please.
How many kids do you have?
I have a total of 4. 3 are alive, and 1 lives with me. The other 2 are they're 21 and 18. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we got about to be a 20-year-old, 19 almost. We got 5 kids.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Your quiver is full. That is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, make more when all the destruction happens. 13 kids. Can you handle that?
Oh no.
But
God's got me on a lot of stuff right now. That's all I can say. He's got a lot. And
good.
It was crazy. Like, it actually, at first I felt overwhelmed, but at the same time I was just like, he's telling me something. Like, I gotta listen to this. Like, I can't be overwhelmed over this. You know what I mean? And like, it was like, I don't know. It's just like, and the first thing that popped up was about Paul's story about witnessing Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's accounts that say the same thing. So you have Luke, if he even wrote the part of the Acts, I don't know. I don't even know how they divide it, but there's one part in Acts 9 where it says that they did hear the voice, and then in Acts 23 it says they didn't hear the voice, and then in Acts 23 it says that only Paul fell to the ground, and then you go to Acts 26 and it says that everybody fell to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what is going on here? And I pointed that out to a couple of people, and this is my response. The best response that I had was the word "not" was added to something, but somebody else said, "Oh well, it was just 2 people's what was it? It was 2 people's interpretation of what happened." And I'm like, that doesn't work though. That's like me going to Walmart and 3 people have 3 different accounts. Who are they going to believe? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying.
There's no credibility.
There is no way of explaining that. That's a clear contradiction.
Yep. And it's one of the biggest ones, yeah.
I can't unsee that. And do you know about the Lazarus and the Matthew one?
No, go ahead. Tell me about that one.
All right, Lazarus and Matthew, right? So Acts chapter 1, it says that Lazarus purchased the land and his intestines spewed out. In Matthew, the last chapter, it says he threw the gold back. The high priest at the time bought the land, and Judas hung himself. So how did he die? Did his intestines burst open like Luke in Acts chapter 1 says? Or did he hang himself and somebody else purchased the land like it says in Matthew chapter 25? 5 or 6, whatever it is.
That's some
So
true
that's another
questioning.
one.
Yeah.
That's clear. You can't. I don't. What people. And it was funny because my wife put it as a poll on her page, and she put both of the answers down and half and half. And I'm just like, you can't have that. That's not right. You know?
Right.
It's got to be a story.
Right.
So,
I'm
that's
so
what-
glad that you see that. Yeah, and this is amazing, you know, because your husband and wife, you're going to be a freaking powerhouse when these cards start to fall. And that's what Yahuwah is rising up. So, I mean, amazing. You're a man who's leading by the Father, and he's leading his wife and his children now, and that is fire. You are...
Even my kids were like, well, what do we do, Dad? I'm like, what we've always done from the beginning. Follow the ways of Yahuwah. That is it.
Yep.
I said, these books right here where he comes down to Moses and says you better do all this, that's what we need to do. We fear the Lord by loving his commandments and keeping them. Because he says, what does he say? Even in Isaiah, even if I'm not a true blood Israelite, right? He even says, do not allow any foreigner that joins themselves, keeps my Sabbath and my covenant, to say that I am not their people, his people. So,
Yeah. See, the whole...
go ahead.
The whole, you know, people not being Israel, I don't believe that for a minute. I think if you hear the Father calling you back to him, you are scattered Israel, brother. You are. Because he says that his children hear him calling him. You know, they hear him calling them.
Yeah, that's fair enough too. No, that's fair enough. I'm just saying, even if I can go down and say my bloodline isn't, like, he still allowed people that would follow would keep his covenants. He would allow them to say, I am your God, you are my people.
Right.
Like, that was never new. That was never anything new. And I was always questioning myself and asking about, like, why is Paul saying we're being grafted back in when he just says, just turn to me? Like, even through the divorce and all that he used the symbology, and Yahuwah was a husband and they were, you know, whatever, but even though he calls them their son. But if you look at that imagery at the same time, it was still turned back to me. That's all he wanted. He said, all I want is obedience. Like, I don't care about all these blood bulls and all this stuff getting killed. All I want you to do is just serve me.
Right.
That's all I do.
Right, and you know, the whole, I was just talking about this too, you know, Leviticus 20, you know, where Jesus says, you know, that he's supposed to take his father's bride. Well, Leviticus clearly says that any man who takes his father's bride is to be put to death.
Yep, that's a sin.
Yeah. So, I mean,
That's a sin.
that goes straight up against the New Testament. Like, Jesus is a heretic. Like, totally against Yahuwah to do that. To even think that he can. You don't take your father's wife, divorced or not. It's still a defilement.
Yep.
And I'm so glad that you see that, you know, because I think that there's a lot of people in, you know, in the spaces that see it, but it's painful to come out of this. It is, especially when you're alone and you don't have family or you don't have friends that, you know, connect on the same level. It is very hard. They see it, they're scared. You know, I have a lot of people who are in spaces that sit there and talk down to me, but they follow me right afterwards. And I'm like, that's interesting. But
I followed you because it wouldn't allow me to message you. So I was like, man, I hope she does a space soon because I'm going to get in there and follow. Because I don't want to message you and say, I didn't want to message you and apologize. That just, if I'm wrong, I want to come person to person and be like, hey, I'm sorry, you know?
I appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
I'm hoping you do a space. But like I said, I'm still testing everything. And, you know, I'm leaning more of Old Testament all the way, like, completely. Like, it doesn't make, you know, it doesn't make sense. And it's easier for me because my wife, she was more up in the church thing. So she's kind of like, you have that, like, if you deny him, you don't have the Father and stuff like that. Kind of have that ingrained a little bit in her. Because she was raised in church.
Right.
But me, I see it and I'm just like, there is no explanations for this. So it's like, you either disregard this whole book that this is in, or you just take the whole thing out. But the problem is you go, the Gospels themselves, none of them even agree with each other half the time.
Right.
Like it says, one Gospel says that he's king and judge, right? And then there's another one, I can't remember these. I'd have to go look them back up again. But, one says that he's king and judge right now, and then the other one says that he didn't even come to condemn anybody. And it's like, okay, well, what were you sitting here to do?
Exactly.
And not only that, but what about the reoccurring? What about the when people go to the tomb? Who went to the tomb? 4 different stories from 4 different accounts.
That was the best one.
I just but see, that's the thing though. Like at the beginning of this year, which was 5 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were actually doing in Discord. We were doing a Discord call with a bunch of people, and we were trying to figure out, Passover according to the New Testament and not the Old Testament, right? So we were doing that. So we were like, okay, let's see what the New Testament says about it. And we went in it, and there was 4 different accounts of the whole story. And I'm just like, and we all just sat there like, what are we supposed to do now?
Wow. I love that. I mean, that's Yahuwah, like,
what
confounding.
I'm being honest, though. What are you supposed to do with that when you have 4 different accounts saying he rose before the morning, he rose at night, he rose on the first fruits, he rose on the Sabbath, he rose on the first day of the week. It's like, okay, well, which one is it?
Right. Yeah, and Origen is the one who put all that together. Origen and Count Muratorian of the Muratorian Fragment. They're the ones who put together the whole New Testament. They were the ones who said, okay, Catholic Church, here it is, it's canon, there you go, done. And Origen, he did not speak Hebrew. He learned Hebrew, but he never understood, conjugation of it. He never understood what these writers even meant in Hebrew. So he was trying to translate what they had written into, the New Testament, into Greek or Latin, whatever it was in first. Because I haven't dug that far into it, as far as it looks like you're going into. But Origen clearly says he did not understand context. Literally, when you look at his writings. So when you're looking at these 4 different accounts, there's the proof right there that he had no idea who was talking about who, because it all had to do with context when he was translating it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why Paul said, saved by grace through faith, and then you have James saying faith without works is dead.
Jeez.
Well, I'm just saying, I know the New Testament very well. I've studied Paul for the last 5 years, in depth. So I know him back and forth, and I just can't believe that I didn't see it. That's what I'm saying. That's what's weird about it. It's I didn't see it. It's crazy.
Well, and he was part of a pagan priesthood. I don't know if you researched.
Yeah, he was actually related to King Herod at the time. King Herod was appointed by the Romans, and he wasn't even from the line of Judah, so he wasn't even true king in Israel at the time. And he actually rebuilt the temple. So that's my other thing: is why is Jesus walking around my father's temple when that thing was destroyed before Herod came in?
Exactly. They don't line up.
Here goes another thing. Have you ever thought about this? If Herod sent out people to go kill babies under 2 years old, why did John die?
That's a good one. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that.
I'm just wondering. I mean, this is the things that I'm searching. You see what I'm saying? It's just that I'm trying to be honest with myself. That's all I'm trying to do.
Right? And
I
that's
just want.
good. That is good. You have to be honest with yourself. You can't, we can't continue to follow the lie once we're shown, you know. So, I mean, that's good. And your wife, so is she still not seeing it? I mean, you had mentioned that the
Oh,
father.
No, she's done. She's probably done more reading than I have on it.
Oh, okay, good. That's great. Wow, I'm so impressed. Wow. Yahuwah is great. I was seeing a little bit of people, waking up, but now, a lot of what's going on in Israel, a lot of people are now seeking truth because, we have Russia at our front door. Literally wanting to take out the US along with the UK. And so people are scared now. They're really, really scared. And if we can bring it to light to them, you don't have to be afraid. You can let go of the actual, burden. The yoke that was placed on us was the New Testament, because Yahuwah says that his burden is light. We were never given a burden to carry.
Yeah, I know there's a verse in the Old Testament that says that he was going to put a stumbling block in Jerusalem or in the land. I can't remember exactly what that entailed. But I was kind of thinking of like Paul or the New Testament. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and Yahuwah puts it there. Yahuwah says that he is testing his people. So he says, I put the stumbling block there to test you, to see if you would remain true to me.
Exactly. Deuteronomy 13.
Yep.
Yep. I read that the other day too, and I was like, man, this is just right here. Like, this prophet, he literally tells you, I can put a prophet in front of you telling you the truth. But at the same time, this is me testing you to see if you love me.
Exactly.
But that right there, that hit hard right there. Like, just like looking at that, I was like, well, what? Like, what? And I was like, man, that is fire right there. Because if you think about it, I'm going to put somebody that is going to tell you the truth, but have you go serve other gods. What is that? Doesn't that sound like something? You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of my thought process. That sound like something.
Yeah, you're definitely onto it.
And then if you go into all the prophecies, like, this is I'm just sorry, I just don't really have a lot of people to talk to and stuff, so.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
But, if you look in all the prophecies, like, it says, like, straight up, when, call on my name, Yahuwah.
Yep.
Like, that's just, like, how do you, or that?
Well, and it says we profaned his name. Not many names. We gave him more than one name. So, when you're profaning somebody's name, you're either adding to it, degrading it, taking away from it, or, you know what I mean? Because it's a name, not many names. And it's funny because when I go and I do these spaces, and I touch on these very things, where it says the name was profaned, we're to honor the name is holy. It's like it's one name. You can't give him many names. He's a jealous God. He won't tolerate it.
Yeah. Another thing is like, when Christ says to, I can't remember who he's talking to, but he says that he's talking to the Pharisees. And he says, I come in my Father's name. And if somebody comes in his own name, you would receive him, right? But my thing is, if he came in his Father's name, why was his name Jesus?
Exactly. Exactly. That's another name, and Yahuwah says, don't add or take away.
And here, this is another thing that I was looking at. Like, this is just logical things that I've been looking at. Just questions that I've been looking at. Is Isaiah chapter 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
The virgin birth, right? So this virgin had this. Okay, let's just hypothetically say it was virgin, because I know it wasn't. It's just means young lady.
Well, it was both.
Well,
You know that King Ahaz was both king, prophet, and priest, right? Or not prophet, he was priest and king.
yeah.
His father was a priest. So, in order for a king or a priest to marry, they had to marry a virgin.
Yeah, okay. Well, either way, I'll say with that, they say that kid's name was Emmanuel. Why was his name Jesus again?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it objectively from, looking at it. Like, if the kid's name that came from this virgin in Isaiah 7, if his name was Emmanuel, then why are we running around calling him Jesus and not Emmanuel?
Exactly, because they leave that part out. And these are some excellent questions to ask in spaces, brother. You really should, because you're really making people think when you ask these questions. And there's not enough people who are thinking for themselves. They're literally going off of regurgitated doctrine, or what other people are teaching them, or what, their preacher is teaching them, or what their family has taught them. You know what I mean? They don't want to think for themselves, and you're causing them to think for themselves when you ask those types of questions. Because there's literally no front door. You know what I mean?
I mean, you can jump out the side window, but that's going to be noticed.
Exactly. Exactly what I'm saying.
That's going to be noticed. So, and that's what kind of made me mad about some of these people. Like, they just gave me some just cop out excuse of why they don't match, and I'm just like, this is not cool. This is not cool.
Yeah, they don't have any explanation because they weren't given one. We were literally told to do this, obey this, follow this, and don't ask any questions. Titus 2 says, do not question those in authority. And we did. We did exactly what he said not to do.
Yeah, my wife was actually, she was the other day, she made a comment. She made a comment about that, and she's like, does it seem like the New Testament's kind of like on the Roman side a lot? Like, they defend the Romans a lot?
Yeah.
Like, pay your taxes to the Romans. Don't question the Roman authority, Romans chapter 13. Like, stuff like that. Like, my wife was like, why is that? Do you know how I explain that away?
No, go ahead.
You know how I explained Romans 13 away? I said, oh, well, that was about the temple that was in God's temple at the time. And now that I found out that wasn't even God's temple, and none of the people that were there at the time would have even been anybody from Levi or Judah.
Right.
Well, I mean, to run the temple itself. That's what I'm saying. Maybe Judah was there. Maybe Israel. Maybe the 10 tribes were there. But we do know they were scattered out, so at the same time, maybe they weren't there. So that's another thing that needs to be analyzed too, is during Jesus' time, what Jews were there, or was it just Jews, which was Judah, or was the 10 tribes of the house of Israel there? Because they split, and 10 went one way and 2 went the other way.
Right.
Southern tribe. And that's why I was wondering. That's another thing that I have too, because there was a lot of stuff that I used to have to defend. And this is what I'm saying. So I taught Torah out of the New Testament for the last 8 years.
And you didn't even realize it.
And think about how much, like, how did you teach the Torah from the New Testament? And how long did you do that for, if you did?
No, the New Testament, I couldn't find the Torah in the New Testament. Honestly, I went back and because I was studying the Torah, alone. And then I started going into the prophets' writings. And then I started dissecting, what the New Testament was saying. And after I realized who created the New Testament, I stopped dissecting. I stopped looking into all the characters. I threw them all out.
No, that's fair enough.
You realize something's wrong, at least, 5, 6 places, if not more, when you first take a glance at it. And, I mean, what more do you need? How many more errors do you need to see to not follow it? And we're told also, if it wasn't law and it's not the prophet's writings, then anything outside of that was considered cursed. So I tread very lightly with the New Testament, because we're told it's a cursed book. It comes from the actual town of Byblos, where they worshipped Dagon, Baal, and Asherah, these 3 Trinity gods. So anything from that book, I'm just like, I try not to say, his name, because we're not even supposed to take these gods' names upon our lips. And that's a big one for me. I struggle with that one, because I'm trying to get truth out, but you kind of have to say the names of these gods in order for people to go and research them. Because if you don't say the names, how are they going to know what gods they are? You know what I mean? Have you researched the god Isus yet? Have you and your wife gone to that one yet?
Yeah, we have. Yep.
So you've seen how Paul took the Galatians' God and merged it somehow, because
I didn't dig into that. I haven't really dug most into that yet. I'm kind of I'm working my way around certain, the gospel is my first hit, because that's the first one. Even though Paul was written, what was it, 30 years before Mark? Yeah, 20 or 30 years before Mark. So the gospels themselves weren't eyewitness accounts.
Right.
But neither was Paul. So that's something that we did figure out. So we looked through all that stuff. So nobody really knows who wrote any of it. I mean, that's the honest truth. That's just, is there some okay stuff in the New Testament? Maybe, yeah. Be nice to people. Okay, yeah, okay, we'll do that. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't consider it as of today. Even with your recording going, I will say that I will not consider the New Testament as scripture.
It's not scripture. And
Yeah.
and when you look at the Pythagoreans brotherhood, they played such a significant role into the different sects of Christianity. I don't know if you saw the Freemasons document that I had put up. Gosh, I have over 1,000 posts now, so it was probably within the first 1,000 that I post. But it's literally a Freemason document from Israel, stating that Josephus, Flavius Josephus, and Pythagoreans, all the Pythagorean brotherhood, there were Socrates, Aristotle, all of them, all of your founding fathers of mathematicians, of science, of all these different trades, these craftsmen, that we're told about. And so when you start digging down these rabbit trails, you start unpacking a whole lot more than, it's just another rabbit trail that takes you down this.
Pythagoras, he was a Roman Catholic Jesuit, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The Order of Jesus. The Jesuits' order was called the Order of Jesus, the Order of Jesus, because the Roman Republic created the letter J and then changed the name from Jesus to Jesus or Jesus when you look into this. So, and that was one of my questions was, okay, so if the Roman Republic created the letter J, but the Galatians had this god Jesus, there's something there. There, you have to connect the pieces, like Jesus to Jesus, like, you know what I mean?
Well, my thing is like, I don't, that's a gross interpretation, because Yeshua actually is a shortened, it's like basically like a nickname for Joshua.
For Joshua, yeah.
So his name should be Joshua if you want to be technical, but they ignore that.
Well,
That's weird.
Yes, and then you look at the book Hosea, and Hosea's name in Hebrew is Husha. So you see people saying Yeshua, and then you see him saying Yahusha. So are they saying Yah is Hosea? Because Hosea's name means Husha. So I debunked that with Dr. Stephen Pidgeon and Dr. Michael Brown, because they're the ones who came up with that whole messianic Yahusha, correlates with Joshua, and it means Yah is salvation. I'm like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Even Stephen Pidgeon in his Sefer shows you that Hosea's name means Husha. So, yeah, their whole Yahusha doctrine, I totally just, it doesn't make any sense when you realize that Hosea means salvation, not Joshua. But see,
well, not only that, but what about when Moses changes Joshua or Hosea's name to Joshua?
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say that. Cause,
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just trying to bring that up too.
No, you're fine. Because, yeah, he does. His name is first Hosea or Hosea, and then he changes it to Joshua. So even Joshua's name doesn't mean salvation. The name Hosea does. Yeah, when you look at the book of Hosea itself, Hosea is, what is the book of Hosea? Hosea was told to go and take a prostitute wife and have children with her, right? And they have Gomer, and I forgot the other kid's name, but it basically talks about how Yahuwah hates those who of these children. He hates them because they are of a prostitute, right? They are of the ungodly, they are of the destruction. But then the prostitute goes and she whores around with this man who's, they don't even give the name of this man. He's just a man, when you read in Hosea, who is trying to get the prostitute to leave Hosea. And he's like, no, I don't want you to be a whore anymore. You can't do this anymore. You have to love me and be with me only, and be holy as I am holy. And, so, that right there, who is that mysterious character that is trying to take the bride away from the Father? It's Jesus. It's the nameless Jesus. It's the figure of a man.
Yeah, I never heard that before. That's interesting. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, it's a definitely a very scary thing when you look deeper into it. To think that this is the exact story that all of scattered Israel has been misled by. Literally.
What's really crazy is, like, one of the punishments is that God tells them that He's going to scatter them into a land that that you don't know the language, and they serve these wooden idols. The cross, the wooden idol. What does America do?
Exactly. And it says that it's the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, Jebusites, there's other ones, the other ites. But, we're told in Genesis 15 that we have 400 years to meet the sins of the Amorite nations that we're going into those lands to possess. The land that you're talking about. There are already the Amorite people in that land who were worshiping these wooden idols. And, Jeremiah tells you in Jeremiah 6:73 of the apocryphal of his letter that he did, that the image that they are worshiping is in the image of a scarecrow. I mean, that's common sense. You look at the New Testament, you look at this man who is on a cross in the image of a scarecrow, right? The exact image of a scarecrow. Jeremiah nails it. That today would be Jesus. And all the way down to the very description of the carpenter that Isaiah mentions. I mean, it's so accurate all the way down to what they say. And Hosea just puts the nail in the coffin, I think, when he says that it is a man, a dark man, who is trying to take the prostitute away from Hosea. And Hosea would be Yahuwah, and the prostitute would be us as the bride, and then this Jesus character as the dark man who is trying to take the bride away from the father, claiming to be his son, saying that he has the right to do that. But clearly, as we just read, that goes against the Torah, where a man cannot take his father's wife.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I said, the scarecrow thing, I haven't heard that. I'll have to look. I'll read about that. And the Hosea one, I haven't heard that. But no, as you said, Torah said that no son can take a father's wife ever. Yeah, absolutely.
Leviticus 20.
Yeah, that's right there.
That's exactly what the Torah portion was today that I did. I don't know how much of it you got to listen to. But everything we're touching on was exactly on this exact Torah portion. Everything we just covered, which is amazing. And you didn't even get to listen to all of it, right?
No, I listened to I think the last part was you were praying, maybe.
Okay.
To close it out. That's all I got to listen to that part.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you had no idea. But, like, if you go back and listen to it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, we were just talking about all of that. Literally all of it. But, these are divine appointments that the Father gives, which is pretty amazing, and I'm just so blessed that you're, in this space with me, and, we're fellowshipping. We're doing exactly what the Father called us to do on his Sabbath day. He gave his calendar for us to use, and he said that the three witnesses, were the moon, the stars, and the sun. And he gave the moon for seasons. Well, when you look at a season, what is made up of a season? Well, it's a cluster of weeks, right? Or a cluster of months. And then what makes up months? It's like a cluster of weeks. And then you break it down even further. Weeks turn into days. And what does Yahuwah say governs the day? The light. Which light is he talking about? He's talking about the moonlight first. It's a break of day. It begins the first day, which light actually means day, if that makes sense. Daylight. And I have this argument with people on Facebook all the time, because there are they're all Tanakh followers only, most of them. And then I have, actually, that wasn't true. There's probably about 200 of them on my Facebook that are Tanakh only or Torah observant, and the rest of them are Christian and Messianic, and they came in with the flood that I had received when I got the prophecy of the floodgates. So they all got to witness all of that happening. So it's very interesting.
So when does the day start?
The day starts when the light breaks through, when the moonlight, right, breaks through the dawn. So at I want to say 3 to 4 a.m. in the morning is that breaking point of the beginning of a day.
Okay.
We weren't given the Gregorian or the Julian. We were given the moon cycles to follow, and there's 8 for a reason, because the first day is also the 8th day, because it's a new day. It's a new moon. You can't see it. So we're keeping the Sabbath according to the way that the Torah has said to do it, by no standards of man, but by the witnesses that we were given, which is the moon. That was the witness that we were given for seasons and the appointed times.
Yeah, I believe that too, yeah. You said today's the Sabbath, though?
Yep. Today's the Sabbath day.
Do you have any information that you could maybe send me for that? Because I'd like to do a study on that, because I always thought it was like Friday.
Yeah, and that's according to Judaism. When you
like Friday, so Thursday night into Friday night.
Oh no, I have no idea. I've not looked into that. I've always done. I always did Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Just because we're supposed to start our Sabbath in the evening, but that was according to Passover only. When you go and you research that further. But yeah, I can give you some more information.
You would definitely have to send me some stuff so I could read and see what you have, because I've studied like a couple of different things, like the Jews, how they have it, and then how Jesus keeps it in the New Testament, which is a day before the Jews. Well, I mean, Passover is, so it's weird how that even lines up. I don't get it, so I can't really explain that right now, but he did keep something a day, some things were a day before they did, or whatever, but that's irrelevant. But I'm looking the Enoch calendar.
Yeah, it's very similar. They go by the lunar, but they go by the 8th. I believe it's the 8th, the 22nd, the 29th, and the 29th, I think, is when they do their Sabbath days.
Yeah.
Something like that. But Shaul, actually, Brother Shaul has, oh my goodness, he has a whole, book on it that he wrote. He's a scholar. I don't know if you've talked with Shaul, right?
Yeah, I've talked to him and told him a couple things.
Okay. So he is the one you want to pick his brain for understanding the day. He has all the documentation. He's actually who I did my studying through, and it's really hard for me to learn from somebody else, just because I don't retain it like a lot of people do. I go and I do my own research so that I can understand for myself, but I've had to definitely pick Shaul's brain, and for hours on end. I'm probably his biggest subject when it comes to picking his brain because I don't get it the first time around when it's explained. But he's definitely a humble spirit who can give you more information on it. I can give you his documentation, his website that he has, The Way of the Most High.
Checked his website out even yet. I probably should go do that, just check it out, just see how it is. Because, like I said, I mean, obviously you can tell that I'm willing to look at anything and test it. So, I mean, yeah, anything that can help me out with it, because that's important too. The appointed times and everything. So.
Absolutely, that's important. I mean, all the Torah in itself is important, but it's really important, to get the ordinances and the statutes, because when you understand what the ordinances make up of and the statutes make up of, you come front and center with the New Testament and well, that goes against that ordinance. You start to dissect it slowly. So, I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I post. I don't know if you have a Facebook or not. But a lot of my research, I'm trying to merge my research from Facebook over here to my X. So everything that I have on my Facebook every day, in the memory section that they give you, I go and I share it here on X. So my research is transferred over. Because I don't know, Facebook is censoring so much. I mean, even my video, I'm still live on Facebook right now. So even my videos get censored, and they don't all get recorded. It cuts it off. There's chunks and pieces that are missing. So that's why I record it on X, so everybody can hear the message, and it's not broken up where you're hearing me talking about one topic here, and then it's 10 minutes later, you're hearing the next topic, but 2 seconds later. Gotta love those breakdowns.
Yeah. Hey, but I'm glad I caught you right at the end. I'm sorry I kept you, but yeah, I'm gonna head to bed. I got work in the morning, so I hope the rest of your night goes well, and may Yahuwah bless you and your family.
Yeah, thank you, and you as well. And I'm so blessed that you and your wife have, seen this for yourself and have just started to continue to dig. So anything that you need from me, if you have any questions, I'm an open book. You can ask whatever you want. Shaul. He's a fantastic resource. He is only Torah observant. I'm sure you are aware of that. So anything you ask him about the prophets, he's going to give you a eye rolling, I'm sure, because he doesn't believe, in the prophets' writings or anything like that. But what's interesting is, he can't deny the prophecy that I was given on my Facebook. He can't deny it because I went to him about what it meant. And he was part of watching Yahuwah bring in a floodgate of people, floods of people, floods of them. And I screenshotted so many of them. He's like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see anymore. But he was part of it. So he can't deny what he was part of, which was a prophecy that I had given on Facebook the night before it happened, that Yahuwah had said that a flood was coming and the floodgates were opening. And here I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have another flood, as it says, as it was in the days of Noah, is this what he means? And we were both trying to figure this out, scratching our heads for an hour. And then we're like, okay, whatever, maybe Yahuwah will give us something later and we'll, catch back up. And I get off the video call with him and I go into my Facebook just to check it. And there's 5,000 maxed out people in my inbox. And then shortly after that, I was getting people messaging me, telling me, you know, that they were there to marry me. And I'm like, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be seeking the Father alone because he's calling us back. It's the voice that we're supposed to be hearing. And I had to explain this to like pastors and bishops. They all just came pouring into my Facebook, questioning me, like who I am, why they're there. And I'm like, I have no idea. But I mean, still to this day, Shaul can't deny ever what happened. So it puts him in a weird position as being only Torah observant, you know, and then being part of that.
No, absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, even like, even if it is Torah only, like, I mean, I still see the Father like running through the prophets, going, you know, go warn these people, tell them they better, you know. Like, I can see him doing that because he cared about his people. Like, he did send watchmen. He did, you know, do these things and, like, look, you need to turn back. Like, I mean, he did it with the Gentiles. Look at the Canaanites where he gave them, like, what, 500 years to repent before he destroyed them. So, I mean, it's just, you know, things like that. Just, we look at it and I'm okay with Torah only. That's fine. I mean, that was Yahuwah's spoken words. That is okay with me. But the prophets, you know, honestly, like, they do bring, like, I would say, like, they bring a little flavor to the dish. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, they still talk Torah. They still say, you know, it still lines up with, you know, things of how, you know, he's going to bring his people back out of the land that he's separated from them. And, like, where it says in Deuteronomy, I mean, it says it actually in a lot of different places, but Deuteronomy is the big one right at the end, 33 or 30. It says that, you know, if you don't do these things, I'm going to scatter you out and put you amongst the nations, but I will gather you if you turn back to me. So, I mean, those are promises that were made through own spoken, written word that God himself did, that Yahuwah did.
Yeah.
You know? And I can't let none of that stuff go. And these people that are trying to explain that away, and even I'm not even talking about people that just follow Torah only, because honestly they're really not trying to explain it away because they embrace those promises. But some of these Torah, I call them Torah Jesus follower people.
Messianics is usually, because you have the Messianics. The Messianics are the ones who have come out of the Sunday church, and then you have Christians who are, you know, still indoctrinated in the Sunday church.
Christians are just, well, I mean, most of the Torah people are indoctrinated still in the Sunday church too, though, because they're still thinking that Jesus is God. And I'm just like, where does it say that in the Torah? That right there was a big thing for me. I never taught that he was God, ever.
Well, they get it from Genesis 1:26, when it says, let us make him in the image of us.
That's not even a good verse to even say that.
I know. It's a bad argument.
Verse.
No, I agree. I mean, and if you go further into that, it tells you that the image was in male and female. Doesn't say human.
That's what exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like, they just try to, you know that word exegesis, or whatever they call it? What do they say? They insert stuff in the scriptures? Well, yeah, you're exegesis Jesus into the scriptures there. That's what's happening here. And we've noticed that since we've opened our eyes to this stuff and started asking questions, we've really noticed people, Torah-following Christians and Christians themselves, literally insert Christ into everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's not there. Nope, he's not there. That's talking about Hezekiah. Nope, that's talking about Emmanuel. Nope, that's talking about this. Oh, well, you know, and I watched this video about, they're trying to talk about, there's just so much to talk about. And I gotta go to bed.
No worries. We can definitely meet up. Let me know when you guys go in these spaces. I'd love to join you. You know, we work together as an army, iron sharpening iron. We have to wake as many people up as we can, and you know, I've just been waiting for Yahuwah to do that, and He is. He's raising up an army. So yeah, if you guys would let me know when you go into spaces, I'd love to join you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'll try to get in some, but honestly, like a lot of these people, they just like, man. I've been kicked out of spaces just trying to teach like being obedient to, and I just go in there and try to like just be like, just can we just agree on the 10 Commandments at least, like the first 10, like can we just agree on that, you know? And they're just like, no, I can't. We're not supposed to do anything.
It's the stiff-necked generation that Yahuwah says by name. He calls them a stiff-necked generation.
Well, if you don't want to say Jesus' name or whatever, you can just call them X. They know him by that.
Yeah, that's true. It's been eye-opening though. So yeah. I hope this testimony livens your day up for that. So. Absolutely. And, bless you and your wife. I'm definitely going to be praying for you guys. Because, that you're going to get some fire. But you guys have each other. And, you've got support. I'm here. Shaul's here. This is not going to be easy because you got to come out of full indoctrination. Like everything you've ever known is, you have to look into it. Is this really a lie? Is this really what I've been taught? So, getting in these spaces, they're stiff-necked. They're not going to see it. They're not meant to because they're not the fulfillment of the remnant. They're not Shir Jashub. They can't rise out because they can't let go of the idol. It says in Deuteronomy that if there be people among you saying, "Come, let us worship the nation's gods," you are not to follow them. These are those people who can't let go of their gods. They love their gods. Their idols. They can't drop them. They don't know how. It's that embedded in them. And it's sad because I have a lot of friends who are very much down that path, and there's no way I can convince them. They tell me, I will die for Jesus. I'm like, wow. If only you knew what you're really saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hey, thank you for this talk. But yeah, I'm gonna run for real this time. But yeah, we'll definitely be around. Follow me so we can keep in touch, though.
Of course, I will definitely do that.
All right. Well, you have a good night.
You too. Shabbat shalom, brother, and your wife as well.
Yeah, shalom.
Hi. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this space. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope that this Shabbat has been a blessing to you. May you all have a peaceful evening and get plenty of sleep and rest.